Yikes. I feel like I've lost one. Yeah.
That's fine.
All right, maybe he'll let us know when we're getting started here. Not sure if I'm waiting for a cue. Potentially, maybe, yeah.
Thousands.
Or maybe they're saving it for tomorrow.
I had to do. Make sure to plug your sound.
Yeah, right.
All the deals you might be having.
Yeah, my website's a joke. I really need to update that. Forget about it. We're only one person.
Exactly.
How can we do all the?
Kind of just forgotten about it.
Yeah. You're like, oh, you visited that?
Ooh, please don't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Text me if you want something.
You like
Not
not
on.
on your card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. All right, yeah, we're at 5:35. I'm just gonna ask if we can just. You got? Okay, all right. I think we're gonna get started here. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. This topic is something I've personally been really passionate about for the past few years, having seen so many friends be impacted by some terrible weather situations and myself as well too. And also having like learned a lot along the way and having other artists kind of chime in at shows and be like, hey, if you did it like this could actually be, a better setup for you. And I've really appreciated those moments. But it's been almost 20 years of those, and we don't always get them. And we don't always get them our first show or our second show or our first year. So that's kind of what brings us here today with this talk. And I'm going to open up with an intro I wrote. I'm pretty nervous because I'm not a big public speaker person. So I'm just going to roll it out like that. So I'll be doing some reading right off this page here. And then also, yeah, and then a little bit of kind of improvising too. So first off, thank you all for being here today and your openness to improvement, suggestions, and discussion around the topics we'll cover related to vending at a craft show. Thank you to Cordell and Jessie, my lovely panelists and fellow artists, for letting me talk them into joining me up here. There's something a little bit more comfortable with camaraderie. They have a lot to offer that complement and reinforce some of these topics that we'll be discussing, reflective of their experience in respective mediums. So we all have different mediums as well, which we'll get into in a moment. Thank you to the folks at the MAG, specifically Allison, Leah, Melanie, and I haven't caught your name. Mike, thank you so much for helping kind of get this on Zoom and make it more public to other artists who couldn't be here tonight. And generally for just supporting the development of this talk, because I'm not sure if I would have sort of moved forward with all of this without that kind of backing from the MAG. Yeah, it's so from here, I think we'll kind of start by introducing ourselves up here. And then I know I've kind of gone around and introduced myself to you and gotten your name and maybe learned your medium. But we'd love to hear a little bit more about your prior experience with craft shows, specifically like outdoor craft shows, and your names and what you're hoping to learn perhaps tonight too, because I'd like to be able to touch on those things if we could touch on those things if we can. Okay. So I'll start with you, Cordell.
So you're up.
I'm up, yeah.
Yeah.
I know some of you, a couple of you. My name's Cordell Cordaro. I'm a local artist. I've been doing this, I guess, for 19 years. Doesn't seem like that long, but I have been. So 2007 was the first time I did an art show, and it was here at it was Clothesline. And I had like a blue tent. I don't even know if I had walls or weights or anything, but it was like kind of opened my eyes to doing this full time. And I'm a painter. I don't know if I said that.
You did now.
I did not, yeah. And yeah, so I mean that's pretty much my story. Yeah.
Am I up?
You're up.
Okay, so my name's Jessie Valone. It's a sentence. I am a potter and ceramicist. I've been making for 13 years and in business for about 10. And like you said, a lot of the stuff I've learned about shows has been from other artists, like 95% of it probably. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Cool. I'm so glad you guys are here. And I'm Marisa Krol. My business name is Interstellar Lovecraft. I am a jewelry metalsmith, and I think Clothesline was one of my first shows too, probably 16, 17 years ago. And I've been like a loyal, like this is my show. If I give up all other shows for whatever reason, I will not give up Clothesline. It's just such a wonderful event for artists, and it feels like a reunion every year with your customers that you've built and the relationships that have formed. And it's just a very well organized event, which for those of you who maybe have done a few craft shows or maybe more than a few, you really learn to appreciate that. They really are here for the artists. So that's just a little bit about us. I think we'll start maybe on this side of the room, and not to put you on the spot, but we'd love to just kind of get to know you guys a little bit too.
And I'm not professionally doing it, it's turned into a hobby for the last 7 years. And I got into the pendants, gold filled with silver, and just got good at it, and so we got a lot of them, and I got some bracelets. So it's kind of a side. So now I got all the stuff. I spent so much money. So my daughter did that, was a lot mad. And so, Mom, I got a show. I saw the picture in music, and here I am.
Aw, that's
Awesome.
great. Well, in a couple weeks, hopefully you'll have a lot less. Yeah, something fun.
Kristen Stat. I'm an oil painter. This is my first show of any kind ever.
Wow, yeah.
Awesome.
Terrified. And I got one of the fellowship grant things, so I got the free group space.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that's
that's right.
only $500 something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm hoping to come away with a lot less.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So, hopefully I'll sell at least one.
The first one's always the scariest one, you know, because you're just for the first time getting all of this feedback from people who you've never met, who've never seen your work before. And then from there, that's just your break-in show, you know, and then things kind of start flowing a little bit more easy, but you'll do great. Yeah, absolutely. It's very vulnerable.
Mhm.
Hmm.
For sure.
Okay.
Carol's my husband. Some people think we're brother and sister, but
It's not like that.
I primarily acrylic florals. I have got into some textiles because I like to spill out into like my home accents. So, people run out of wall space. I'm like, well, my pillow. And so I've been doing this for about 16 years. And yeah, it's just a lot. What I find interesting is you get a lot of like questions at art shows. So be prepared for those kind of reflective. And they don't have to be deep answers, but they're just like, oh, what did you study? And I'm like, I didn't go past high school. Like when the bell rang, I was out of there. And over the years, it's been manicured and nurtured. And so what you see, I create this really was, I guess, self-taught, but so it's very fulfilling. I love what I do, and yeah, that's it.
I shouldn't talk.
No? If it's too much, you can pass.
Yeah, you can pass.
We can do it. We can do a buy. It's not a
Yeah,
big deal. This is not
exactly.
the most important part of the talk.
She was aware of it.
Cool.
Closer to weaving.
Very cool.
Yeah.
She started out collecting stones and wire wrapping, and then took over the house. So
Aw.
but she's done mostly indoor shows at holiday shows and at arts and crafts things. This summer we went to the outside and did Cornhill and Brockport Arts Festival. both were kind of disappointing, so we're hoping that this one kind of boosts up experience, but yeah, each time we make more changes to the whole stuff. So
Yeah.
again, we're gonna keep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it, you know, she's been doing it, but she has a master's degree and was in finance, but now this is full time for a while.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's great. There's a lot of, highs and lows,
Oh, yeah.
those first few years. Like I just remember like being in a very panicked state a lot of the time for a long time, but there was still something about it that I knew was really important for my growth. So I just kept showing up. And eventually like it starts getting easier. Like you start to kind of like, yeah,
For sure.
yeah. And like learning yourself like through that too. So, yeah, well, I'm glad you're here, Allison.
I'm bullshit, so I'm with her. She's actually pretty famous in my family for so I'm serious, it's real bad. So I can give you all a lot of credit.
Aw.
You can't believe you do these things and see it and do it. And it's very impressive to me that you guys can do all this.
Well, your role is very important.
Yeah.
Supporting the arts and the artist. Oh, careful, you'll get a lot of volunteers.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie Brown, and I have been for as long as I can remember, but I started doing this full-time 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in November. This is my first kind of clothesline, but I've done some smaller local shows, indoor and outdoor markets. That my first outdoor market was last June, and I was absolutely terrified. I didn't have a tent, so I had to borrow one. I didn't know I could wait, so I didn't have any. It's really windy there, so I had to my neighbors and coordinator for sure. But I'm a mixed media artist. I do a little bit of everything. I do watercolor, acrylic, oil, wash, and then I also do I do collage with vintage jewelry. So.
Neat.
Place, but which is interesting. I'm happy to be here as first of all learning more about how early to stuff, but also because I have such a variety. And it's not just like painting paintings. So some ideas on how to everything secure, because I had an outdoor show last November that my shelf flew off my table and everything crashed.
Yeah.
I know how the weather, and I know the weather's been like
It's been a crazy year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nervous.
It's a good
That's a
place to
good
be.
place to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Paul Gotti. And I do woodworking, I'm in wood crafts. This is my first year. I pretty much been doing this as gifts, and I have no more family to give gifts to. So, little extra tent in my basement, and that's where everybody's staying kind of contained there. I do basic cutting board, the other type of boards, charcuterie boards, toasters, trivets, magnetized knife racks, all different things like that. Magnetized bottle openers, all that stuff's crafted in my basement. And this is my third show. Started this year, and my second outdoor show. And yeah, I just actually was like, oh, I'm doing that.
Yeah. Checking the boxes.
You pass.
That's great.
Awesome. White tents, you have to have white tent.
I'm not sure if clothesline requires it. A lot of shows do require it, especially if you are kind of like moving in this direction as a career path. Just cut your losses, get the white tent, because then your possibilities really open up. And it's nice and bright. But, Allison, I don't think clothesline does. Yeah. I think there was a time maybe, but not anymore. Yeah. And the white ones are nice too, because they keep your tent nice and bright.
Yeah.
So they keep your work very visible.
And if you said, like it.
Yes.
Maybe not in, so I don't like that, you know, gray or dark tent, they want it aesthetically all.
Yeah.
Some
That's really good input, and also visibility. The whiteness would brighten up the booth for the photo too, because we're not going to talk too much about that kind of thing, like applying to shows. I mean, this really could be a weekend long workshop if we really wanted to go there. We're just kind of focusing on like the fundamentals of like safety, security, and like just kind of taking care of yourself adequately. But yeah, but also those questions are great. Like throw them out there. You know, we want you to get what you need from this talk as well. And hopefully we can, you know, provide some kind of answers that are useful. We'll do our best. Okay. And then in the back.
I'm Aaron, another one of the emerging artists.
Cool. Oh, awesome.
And, so I've only done one tent show at Public Market a couple years ago. And I've already tent from guy shows here, and I just remember the whole thing just being a schlep. It's just so much. And it was like I set it up in my driveway, make sure everything worked, and then figure out how to get it all there. And it's like, as you guys have done this for years, so 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. with maybe one helper, and the only thing that I sold was like my brother's mom. Because like I was already sitting at the but I do sculpture, mostly sculpture, some cheap stuff hanging on the walls or the whatever is gonna pass for a wall. I don't do this kind of show often. I usually try to get into the gallery shows, the shows here, but somebody encouraged me to apply it, so this is a good place to start, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Awesome, Aaron.
These super show, I work with library, I'm no longer making tote bags, so that's primarily what I'm showing. This is my first time at Clothesline. Years ago, I did a Archive Fest, and at the time, I rented a tent. So I rented it, someone set it up, and someone took it down. But this time I bought a tent, and I'm very alarmed that my weights are listed and they're not so great.
Don't worry, mine are too. Just kidding. No, I don't think so.
I don't.
We're going to make them better here today.
There you go.
We're going to figure out ways to make them better. And we're going to talk about why
For sure.
this is kind of laid out this way. And they've also, I should say, Cordell's given me a hard time about how I presented it, but I mean, the things I have seen, the horrors I have witnessed, you know, so I'm just trying to put it out there. Like, if you really don't want to mess around, this is how it should be done. There's a couple ways that it should be done, because the last thing you want is your tent compromised in any way, or for God forbid, for it to injure somebody. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong when weather goes bad. And it is true that at a certain point, if we're talking 50, 60 mile an hour winds, we're probably all in trouble, you know? So it's just trying to protect yourself in those 20, 30 mile an hour, 40 mile an hour situations, especially with those more vulnerable booth placements. Okay. It's going to be great. Because this year the weather in Clothesline is going to be a perfect year because it's 2 weeks earlier, so it's still summertime. So this is all just, you know, food for thought.
Right.
So I don't want any of this to freak you out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like it's intended to be helpful, not scary. But also when you've been doing this a long time and have done hundreds of shows and there are really scary times, it should be taken seriously too. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to I'm going to be kind of the lead presenter here. And then Jessie and Cordell are going to chime in as they please. I'll pause after each segment and then maybe they'll provide some feedback. You guys can ask some questions and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay. So kind of opening it up, why are we doing this? We're doing this to ensure the safety of our neighbors, ourselves, and our product. Severe weather can cause harm. The best thing we can do when faced with it is our very best to prevent and limit damages and stress. Oh gosh, there's just been so many. There's been so many a time. I don't want to go too heavily into like, even though I keep saying that. Oh, I mean, but this summer in particular, I don't know if anybody participated in Fairport, in Allentown, in Lilac. Those all were three very scary shows, and primarily due to high winds. That is like by far your worst enemy in these kinds of situations. Fortunately, this year and the past couple of years, I do feel like my booth's much more secure than it was, but I'm watching crazy things happen around me. I have friends who've lost a lot of work. One who a tree limb fell on their booth and their mom and herself got a concussion from that. The booth obviously was broken. I mean, that could have been a customer. I mean, it could have been another person. They're okay. They're okay. But
Time to get out now. No.
yeah. Good one. But yeah, booths like skidding away, especially on pavement, that's always pretty terrifying. The walls of your booth, perhaps, this happened to me before when the wind was really whipping in. I know it was impacting the person behind me, and I did not hear good things happening back there. And that I have to live with. That was a long time ago, but that's the last thing you want is like your underpreparedness hurting someone else and their product. Obviously, you don't want it to happen to yourself, but it's even worse when it happens to your neighbor. Okay. Do you guys want to share any of your experiences? Or are we like, maybe we shouldn't scare people away? I don't know.
Well, I had a lesson learned last year. I did the MATA at the Culver Road Armory over there, and my mom was helping me, so I thought I was being proactive. I'm like, oh, I'll take my weights off before I, get all my pots, and then my tent went.
Wow.
It was just a pop-up, so I didn't have like my big tent. But as soon as I took those weights off, the wind came and just whoosh, my tent was headed for the road. Thankfully, I had awesome neighbors who caught me because it was the end of the show. So, and I've seen the milk jugs. I've been the neighbor that's scared of my neighbor because the milk jugs were swaying off the tent next to me right over my pots. That was a scary moment. So you don't want to be that.
Yeah, that neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've come in Sarasota, Florida. I came to my booth, had my bagel and coffee, and I'm like, it's gonna be a good day. I'm like, I thought my booth was right here. And it was like totally gone. There was like a storm. People were trying to text me. My phone was off. I was, sleeping. And so I had like the weight system I had, like they were like big ones like Marisa has, but I had them like on the ground instead of like up, and it just was a bad situation. And actually clothesline one year, probably the same weight system. I couldn't close my sides down before like the wind came, and people like literally were helping me hold on to the tent. So the weights are a big deal.
Yeah. And that actually reminds me, this didn't happen that long ago. Just so you know, like Jessie said, you can mess up at any point. You can be very seasoned and have one moment of just not taking something like as seriously as you should, just kind of taking light of it. Rushing. Yeah. I was setting up for Lilac last year and I had 3, and I'll talk more about these weights shortly, but these PVC pipe, like this is about 40 pounds of weight here. I had 3 legs all secured. I forgot one of my ratchet straps. So I'm like, let's do it tomorrow. What did you know? The wind caught it in such a way where my tent totally flipped, and a friend texted me. I mean, it broke and flipped. Luckily my display wasn't too impacted, but that was a crazy text to receive. So make sure you weight down all your legs. All right. So do you guys want to kind of any input there on the kind of like opening piece about like kind of the safety stuff, or
is everything with blacktop or mixed?
Could be, well, you mean at clothesline, or it's both? Yeah. So there's grass in the front and the back, and then there's pavement on the kind of, what would you say, the east-west? You should know from your booth place, and I'm not sure if it says on the map though if it's grass or pavement.
Also, the letter shows you don't allow states the grass.
Yes. Yeah. They're that much more secure. So we'll talk about tents, then we'll move right into the weight stuff following that. So they kind of like link together really nicely. So I'm sure I missed a few here. You know, I haven't done like extensive tent research. I did a decent amount last year when I had to replace my tent after that lilac snafu. And I ended up going with a Euromax with they have hexagonal legs, which they just felt more stable to me personally. But it just in like my interviews with other pretty seasoned artists, they said, you know, Euromax, Easy Up, ABC are kind of all your kind of go-to entry level, but still high quality tents. Like in general, I think you want to be spending between like 200 and 400 on a tent. So going to Walmart, getting a pop-up tent for $50, like you're kind of setting yourself up for disaster there. They just aren't as structurally sound. And it's just going to cause more problems and waste, you know? You got to buy more. So and if you don't have one of these, maybe put it out there on your Facebook or your Instagram or call a friend, maybe borrow a tent to start. It's okay to like not feel like you want to spend that kind of money up front or not feel like you can. Just kind of ask around your community and see if you can get one on loan, but make sure it has walls. Make sure it has walls. That's also super important. Do you guys want to wait? I know Jessie has kind of next level tent.
Yeah. So I have I don't know what you would call it. You kind of build it versus pop up. So you build the frame and then you put the top on. It's like that thick canvas. But it took me like 8 years to get to that point. But it's so sturdy and it's heavier. Like it takes up more room. It's heavier. Like there's definitely pros and cons, but the thing is pretty solid. Like
And quite longer setup.
Yeah. And I'm tall, so it helps. Like they have little assistant things you can buy too, but I've heard that's an issue with some people. Like they've had trouble setting it up on their own because it's not light and it's tall but it's rock solid. And it's really tall, like it's tall and it looks nice and it's bright, you know. So I'm a big fan of that.
They're very professional. Feeling. You walk into one of those, you kind of know you're in something different.
They're also not cheap. So be on the lookout for used ones too. That's a good tip. So mine is a show off canopy, it's called. I don't know what the tents themselves are technically called, but you have to build it.
Just trimline.
Yeah, I think Trimline's one. I don't love the show off canopy, to be honest. Like I love the tent itself, but the customer service wasn't the best. So I didn't write it on here because like they sewed the zippers on wrong. I had to send it back. It was a whole thing. So, but those kind of tents are awesome. Yes, just maybe not that.
And if you search online, there's like all sorts of groups that have done reviews, like craft show experience or something, and they'll be like top 6, canopy tents, top 6, like those kind of midline sort of tents.
For sure.
So do your research and talk to other artists. Like that was like my little thing last year is I would just like pop around to people whose like tents I liked and I knew were experienced and seemed like they had a good setup going on. And that's how I landed on my Euromax, and I've been happy with it so far. Okay, from here, we're going to move right into weights. I think I highlighted this as like, this is the most important part of the talk. But also, so we want to be realistic with where we're at, what we can afford, all of that. Like for years, I personally did the sandbag thing because it's pretty accessible. It's cheap. Like the little bags come in a, small box and you just got to fill it with sand, straightforward. It wasn't until last year that I kind of graduated to the PVC pipe setup, thanks to help from my father-in-law. So that's a great option. I knew I wasn't going to do it for myself. So it took time to find like the right person that had time and loved doing projects to help me out with that. So if you are that person, this is the way to go. I mean, they're so streamlined, they kind of match your white tent. They don't take up a large footprint. I'll pull this out a little bit more. I've seen that, Jessie, you have some that are in a thinner too, but you suspend a couple of them.
I had 2 at Lakefront because there's been crazy storms. Like I kind of read the weather, read the area, and I'll bring 2 of those if I have to, because one looks much nicer. They were my first go around.
2 is that much more secure.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I kind of gave a little bit of a description there, but I think I said like check out YouTube for some how-to videos if that's a direction you'd like to go. You're welcome to come take a peek at this one. The biggest thing with any of your weights, and Cordell, I want to talk about your kind of the best prefabricated options. And this can be honestly just one little nugget, like not near the mic. This would be a good time to be near it. Is the most important part of this talk. And is that how to properly attach your weights to your tent. And it took me 15 years before somebody was like, hey, this is how you do it. So the reason these have a little eye hook here is so you can attach a ratchet strap, because I'm not going to lift this very far on my own, especially with one hand. You need to get whatever your weight situation is off the ground. It needs to be lightly suspended from your tent frame, or the tents, the easy up canopies. They have like a little eyelet in each of the corners of the tent. You attach your ratchet strap to that. If you really want the roof of your tent to be nice and taut. For me, I kind of get sketched out about it because I'm like, it's just a little piece of fabric that it's attached to. So I just attach the ratchet strap, the other end of it, the kind of hook, onto just the frame of my tent. And then I'll take the end of that ratchet strap and wrap it around the leg and the weight here, so it's not moving around. So this way, the weight isn't, because I was asking my husband, who's a chemist, he's all sciencey. I'm like, I get that this works better. I've experienced it work better. Like, why does this work so much better? And it's actually pretty simple. So the weight right now, as it sits here, is a lot of it's being lost in the ground because it's sitting on the ground. But if it's hanging from your tent, then it's doing its job, which is pulling your tent to the ground. So that's why that is so critically important. And the ratchet straps, like in tandem with that, as opposed to string is crazy. You can't just use string. You can't do bungee. You need something really hefty, and that's going to help you get it to height easily. So you don't have to lift it. Yeah. And so you guys might do the same thing. I have my ratchet straps preset. So I know it's just going to lift a little bit off the ground. So I'll just have to lift it a little bit and kind of lock it in there. But if it's easier for you to, open it up and then lift up using the like ratchet part itself, then that's the way to go too. Okay, so
Maybe we should have steps. So we're not all talking.
Oh,
You guys reach out.
Yes.
I know. Jesse probably doesn't. Yeah. it's just-
I do with the walls. Yes, I do with the walls for sure.
No, you
That's a
got
good
it.
tip.
Yeah. Well, you see, it depends on how tall your tent goes.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
high your tent is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Um,
a good tip. I also bungee mine to the legs.
yes.
Just
Yeah.
to keep, like a little extra stay where so
Yeah.
I don't go smashing.
And stability. Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially if you're not tying the end of the ratchet strap that
Yeah.
tight.
Exactly.
I'll go over my like kind of go bag, and I think ours are probably for the most part similar, and you guys can kind of
Yeah.
chime in whatever additions that you have. But yeah, bungees are definitely in there too. Any questions about these weights and why that is something we get so fired up about? This one's close to 40. Yeah. And I think most shows require 30 pounds on each leg. Some, depending on where you are, you're looking at 40, 50, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
had a 50, yeah.
Yeah.
Recently it was 50. So.
Especially if you're going like coastal, where they're kind of accustomed to high winds. A lot of shows these days aren't providing tents like they used to. I feel like that was a thing, pre-COVID. It feels like a less available option now. It's also pretty costly. So it's better for if you're traveling to a show, if you're kind of at that level in your career where that makes sense. But Cordell has a great other solution.
I use sandbags, just like pour the sand in. I think mine were probably like 30 pounds. What's that? They're 50 now. I was doing 30 pounds, I think. But I have like plates that attach to the bottom of my legs, and then I put the sandbags on it, and then I hook it to the bar on the roof of my tent. And I've been through pretty good storms, and it hasn't like budged. But I did the 50 pounds recently, and I was on a bridge in Pittsburgh, and they had like these really crazy winds, and the tent stayed, so it works. Yeah. So if you don't do that, there are other options.
Not in your gas pumps, and those are very accepted fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, just making sure that whatever you have is attached to your tent frame.
And I think the plates on mine are also helping, like, because the legs aren't moving because the weights
Yeah.
are on the plates. and-
Right. It broadens the footprint of that leg base, which is quite tiny.
Yeah.
So, and if you're interested in learning more about that,
Should-
Cordell can show you the link on his phone because he forgot.
Yeah,
The plate
I can draw a
itself.
picture for you if you
Well,
want.
you can get them on Amazon. So it's like you can order them and I'm sure they'll be here in a couple of days. Oh, Rachel, you're the best. Uh,
She's like, why am I sitting here?
So kind of going down the list here, the not so great ones that I had mentioned, like the wrap around the foot ones. I mean, they can just slide out of place. And again, that weight is just sinking into the ground. You're not able to attach them to the top of your frame. I think most art and craft shows do require weights. Some, like if you're trying some more like, I don't know, indie or like new outdoor markets, where the organizers themselves don't have a ton of experience, they may not even mention weights. So that is up to you to take care of yourself. And in those situations, I mean, I think at a certain point as artists, like, I mean, you know, I'm not selling vegetables. Like, I don't want my work to get destroyed. So you kind of have to make different decisions for yourself in terms of what kind of events you're participating in. Especially if, yeah, you've kind of been through some sketchy weather situations in those less weighted down, less kind of serious marketplaces.
You're talking to me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's on the inside.
Inside.
Yeah. Because you'll need to wrap your booth up at night anyways with the walls. So you kind of want everything to be contained there. Yeah, even with mild weather, I mean, like I said, all it takes is just a single gust of wind to ruin your day, or like a really vulnerable booth placement. Maybe the person that was supposed to be behind you didn't show up or next to you, and now you are suddenly on a corner booth by a water area and high winds are kicking in. You know, it can kind of happen anywhere, and you know, some people are more susceptible than others, you know, at any given market, just depending on where they are. Any other questions about the kind of the weight business? Okay. All right. Yeah, so I talked about the ratchet straps. Insurance. Has anybody had any experience with this yet? Buying show insurance at all? It is not required for clothesline. No. So
Oh. What about just a picture of the?
yeah, thank you, Allison, for looking into that. But what I do want to say about it, like the insurance piece is kind of tricky because most of the packages that are available for shows that do require insurance, I know Lilac does, thinking of other shows in the area that do, I don't know, Ithaca, they do. Yeah, there's a few others. But you're buying insurance to protect yourself in case your tent or your work or something of yours or you injure somebody else. So if you get injured in your own tent by an act of God, which that's what weather is, that's up to you to then kind of figure out your own, you know, your medical bills, your health insurance, all of that. I was talking with my friend who had the unfortunate event in Fairport with the tree, also act of God. You can't sue, you know, you can't sue the craft show organizers, the MAG, you can't. This is why this taking care of your side of the street is so important, because there's really kind of nobody else is looking out for you when it comes to these weather events. ACT is the most, like, if you were to search craft show insurance, ACT comes right to the top. I can't remember what the acronyms for art, craft, something. I don't know. And it's pretty reasonable per show, or you could also do like a year plan. They also have these other kind of add-on options, like for theft protection. I don't know how like nuanced it becomes. Like, you have to photograph, somehow prove the value of your piece. I did purchase theft insurance with them this year, and I did get an annual coverage. And that's just because I had some pretty significant thefts last year. So we'll talk about that kind of towards the end. So just trying to do, my part to protect myself, I guess, as far as that goes. So yeah, my friend that had the incident with the tree, her booth was destroyed. Her mom was in the tent with her, also injured. The insurance company paid for her mom, but she had to take care of her own coverage with her insurance, her health care. And then the tent, they replaced it, but with a depreciated value based on how old the tent was. So I don't know if you find a better option out there, do it. But it's tricky. It's better than nothing.
Is there security over?
Yes. Yeah, at clothesline. Yeah, it's nice that the show's gated, and there is security here. Yeah. It's a
Outside and inside.
Allison, you happen to know?
I think they sit at the entrances to the gates.
Oh,
So no security get in.
the building will be.
Oh, yeah.
So that will put it on it out.
Is your tent inside? Are you one of the inside
Yes.
vendors?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You could probably leave your work out.
You might have to get inside, right?
If the building's secure, I mean, I would feel more safe doing that as a jeweler here than, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, and yeah, you're kind of entering this newer than, yeah. So do what feels comfortable for you, But it's different than being outside.
Yeah.
I would absolutely never, especially with jewelry.
You don't
it
have
all
anything
feels
to
home.
worry about.
What's that?
I said, you don't have anything to worry
Yeah,
about.
this building's
You're
locked
good.
up.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
No wind, no.
Right. No weights.
Yeah.
She's like, you're all crazy. Any other questions about the insurance piece? I mean, I'm not sure how helpful that was. I felt like I wanted to touch on it. But it's kind of learn as you go.
Mhm.
And it's nice when it's, not required, but it's also good to kind of have it, I think, year round too, if this becomes more of a lifestyle for you and you start picking up more shows. Let's see. So kind of moving on to kind of ways to protect yourself when the weather gets a little dicey. So I was thinking about this. I did Allentown this year. You guys were you both there? No, you missed. Oh, you were
Columbus.
fortunate.
Yeah.
Fortunate souls. So the second day, they did say at the end of the first day, it might be bad tomorrow. Like, it's optional for you guys to go home. Okay. Shows rarely do that, but they put that out there. But it still feels a little weird. You're like, will this work against me next year? I don't know. Will it really be that bad? I don't know. So I chose to stay. I don't regret the decision. It was a learning decision. But the weather was fine in the morning, and around 3 o'clock, the storm front moved in so quickly, like you had seconds to respond. And fortunately, unfortunately, I was by myself. I usually have a helper, especially when I know the weather's going to be bad. But because I was by myself, I was extra vigilant about making sure I had everything ready to go in case it did get bad. And the decision that changed how this went for me was having 3 tent walls up and in place. I may have even used some clamps to further secure them to the legs. They were definitely Velcroed to the top of the tent and, to the legs of the tent itself. And then I had my 4th wall, my front facing wall, rolled up and ready to roll down. That changed it all because it happened. I ran out, was able to do it. I think someone else even was in my tent and assisted with that. And then all this madness happened. My heart was pounding. It was absolutely terrifying. It felt like being in a hurricane. Not that I actually know what that's like, but just these crazy rain, wind conditions. And then before long, there was 4 inches of water just rushing through my booth and down the street. And I also wore boots that day. That was smart. But I had bins, I had this, I had things suspended. My tent was secure. It was not moving. It wasn't going anywhere. But having your walls kind of figuring out whatever that system is for you. So if things do go sideways, and it can happen very quickly, you can respond fast, because everyone who was hit harder by that, I think they had at least 2 walls open. Like they just couldn't get it up quick enough to protect themselves. Yeah, and those can happen at any point, at any time. And I even talked to an organizer like a half hour before it happened. Like, seems like it's red and it's really coming quick. Are we like, are we calling it? I think I heard somebody say that the show was shutting down at 3. It's like, nope, show's not shutting down at 3. So this is where, like, at the end of the day, you got to take care of you, whatever that looks like. Okay. The show organizers, they got a lot on their plate. They're doing the best they can with the information they have. I don't envy the position they're in, with like 300 plus artists, and, the show's been going on for 50, 70, 80 years, whatever it is. Like, everybody's like doing their best with what they currently know. Okay. So it's tough. Like I part of me wanted to blame that man, but it was just a fluky thing. It was probably my top 2 or 3 of almost 20 years of doing shows. So it can happen here. It can happen anywhere. Okay. But it's not going to happen at Clothesline. Not this year.
But you'll be ready, so it doesn't matter.
But you'll be ready. That's right. Other little tips related to kind of keeping yourself and your work safe, like in your booth. I like to have these foam mats down behind my booth when I'm on pavement. I don't have them out where people are kind of walking around. I was worried they'd be like a tripping hazard, but they're good behind the booth. Because when wind starts blowing, some of my displays, like being a jeweler, I think these little busts can be lightweight. They definitely have fallen behind the booth. I think it was Clothesline a couple years ago. No, because I'm on the grass at Clothesline. Sorry, not blaming Clothesline. It was somewhere else. I was on the pavement. I had a bust flip. I had a 14 karat gold necklace with a softer stone set in it. Fell face first in the concrete, stone split. Piece gone, just like that. So anything, if you have, ceramics, anything glass that would be vulnerable if it were to hit the floor, like depending on how your booth layout is, maybe try rolling out a soft, like a carpet, could be like an outdoor kind of carpet thing. Find something that maybe complements your aesthetic, your booth, your vibe. The only time I pull those up is when I know it's gonna rain and I just don't want to deal with the mess. I guess that's probably the more hazardous time too, but again, to each their own, kind of figuring out what works. Is there anything to add to that?
You're doing great.
No, you're doing
Okay. Oh my God. All right. Going along with that, finding your display weaknesses. Unfortunately, we often find out when it's too late, when the wind hits something and it falls over, and hopefully no damage is done, but the rest of the day, you're nervous it's going to happen again. So it's nice to have in your go bag, perhaps like some weights, whether that be little rocks, could be bricks, it could be something that complements your display, or it could be something that's kind of hidden, but just having little heavy things, or even some small clamps to secure things in place. Double-sided tape, it helps a little bit, duct tape helps a little bit more. It kind of all depends on how bad the weather's going to get and how like weak that particular area is. And hopefully you'll maybe try moving things to a different side of the table, recognizing like, oh wow, my tent wall is hitting into this, or my neighbor's tent wall is hitting my tent wall, which is making it hit even harder. So I got to make those changes. You can talk to your neighbor. Maybe they'll be open and willing, but it's not a guarantee. So just that's a lot of stuff that like we're still learning it, at each show.
Yeah.
In each kind of scary weather event. So it's definitely an evolution. Oh, that kind of goes right into keeping your display clear of your tent walls or your neighbor's tent walls. Rachel, you're getting freaked out about this? Oh, okay. So you were like remembering something that happened.
Shivering.
Yeah, because again, so when the wind starts whipping, it can just start really knocking things over. So just even when you're setting up, just kind of bringing your displays in like a little tighter if you have some running against like where your tent walls would be. Yeah, kind of going back to like trust yourself, trust your instincts. I've had to close down. I mean, a clothesline, I know at least once. I had like a corner booth that year. Winds were really bad. Like things were falling over at a rate that I just didn't feel like I could handle anymore. And my booth wasn't as stable and secure. So I'm holding down the booth, but I'm worried about all this. That's the last place you want to be, is holding down your booth and trying to manage whatever's in front of you. And I had to close up and leave. Like I just couldn't do it. And that's, no one's going to like knock you for that. You've got to take care of you. Okay. Things happen, things come up.
I'll knock you, but
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
people.
You don't know. Oh yeah. And Cordell, you actually mentioned this too. Lowering your tent.
Yeah.
So bringing your tent down, a lot of these easy ups, they have, I mean, there's like a really low setting if you want to, it's not really inviting for people to come in at that point. And if your display is low enough, I mean, that's a great way to kind of really keep things locked down and like stable overnight. You will have to adjust your ratchet straps accordingly, or even just bringing it down a few notches. You're just kind of less open and exposed that way. So dropping your tent is a good tip too. Cordell, maybe you can talk about for the art, print, and painting folks, like,
I was gonna say for the art, you do painting, like I do mesh panels, and those are pretty affordable and they're easy to put up, and plus you have like more stability with the bars, the top and bottom, and paintings stay on there, even windy and stuff like that. For prints, I have print racks, and you get them on Amazon, simple. I usually put my prints out kind of in front of my booth, but if it gets windy, you got to bring it in and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess that's, yeah.
Do you keep your beads on those overnight?
Yeah, I keep, so if they hold them, so my art's free at nighttime. If you're gonna go and take it.
I was like, no. What's his booth
Yeah,
now?
that's right. Stay a little prayer and just, I figure if someone wants it that bad, but just please don't take anything. Yeah, because I don't want to haul. I don't like hauling stuff back and forth, so I don't.
It's like, set it all nice, dry, so
Oh, that's
But
smart.
then, I'm like, wow, good for now, I just didn't know if it would work.
Right.
Yeah.
You could cover them maybe if in case it rains or something inside. But I leave my stuff.
I was just wondering about the mesh.
Oh yeah. It's sturdy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you can stretch. Yeah.
Your mesh panels, are they the ones that are like a steel grade?
They're like a fabric, with holes in them. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the grid wall is good, especially because those are more canvases, like they're lighter weight.
Mesh.
They're better for if you have like framed pieces,
Yeah.
they probably want, the grid wall, because
I don't know.
the airflow kind of comes, you know what I mean? It's something open, something that still has an open design.
I've had pro panels. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Those. I think grid
There's a
wall.
lot of talking with zero. You guys go finish.
Mesh panel.
I've seen, I don't know where
Well, if you want good ones, flourish.
I think Flourish is that's the name of it. Yeah. And they're just called mesh panels. Yeah.
And I think the metal ones that are like kind of these larger open squares, it's called grid wall. Grid wall.
I don't know. The mesh ones are Flourish. I don't know what the grid one is, but that's what I have. The mesh. That's Flourish. Yeah.
And then kind of going along with the art prints or anything paper, making sure it's in clear plastic sleeve, so it's protected from weather and from people, you know, picking it up, dropping it, fingerprints, all that. A friend of mine kind of chimed in who does a lot of art prints, and she said if you're using grid wall, having something to hold your pieces in place, kind of preventing them from falling away. I'm not sure specifically what she uses. But like, you know, something like clothespins or some like little clamps that aren't gonna damage the print, but just kind of keep them from like flopping in the wind.
I'm not.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you're next.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Talk continues, okay. All right, are we good? Are we good on that for the time being?
Well, I have a question. So, and I know it's all this place, is outside. You can do that.
Some places, some you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on the show.
General rule of thumb is pretty much stay within your booth. Because once you start creeping outside of it, there's potential to block your neighbor, and some shows will say you definitely can't. It'll even say like on the show, like keep your work within your space.
Chairs or some.
Yeah.
People to say.
We'll do that a little bit of clothesline too. People will sit sometimes like outside their
Oh,
booths.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
little more casual. Yeah,
You just gotta watch people who steal, that's kind of made concern.
yeah, I'll talk about that. Oh, I'll talk about that. And it's more of a concern for jewelers
Yeah.
than just little pieces easy to steal. There's a, you know, resale value that's higher, meltdown value. Once you get into kind of like finer metals and things like that.
Think of what?
Like resale value, like if somebody steals a sterling silver piece, you can bring it to a pawn shop and they're gonna give you money for the weight of the silver. So
Can't do that with ceramic.
can't do that with ceramics, unfortunately. They haven't
Yeah,
figured that out.
yeah, I haven't
yet.
figured that out yet.
Also just so easy to pocket or kind of slip
So
up.
it's like if you need it.
Let's take a website. So.
Yeah, I was used to doing jewelry, like
Yeah, yeah.
one other person in your booth would do it all the time.
That's
That's enough.
I wouldn't be ashamed.
So I'm gonna chat a little bit about like, where did I end up here? The go bag. Yeah, I feel like this should be with display and product storage, but whatever, I put it up here. So this is a bag that I have packed for my shows and I don't unpack it. I will maybe refresh something, restock something if I run out, but it's so I don't end up forgetting something, you know, that ends up being kind of critical. So for me, and I think a lot of this translates to other artists, other mediums too. A lot of it's more tent related. I have a bunch of plants. So here's just a few. This size is good. I'm not really sure what these sizes are called specifically. You can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, kind of area hardware stores like that. But they open up wide enough to hold onto a tent leg. Okay, so I will sometimes attach like two walls, even though I have them Velcroed on. I'll kind of further secure my booth with these, especially overnight. I know that a lot of tent walls also have, you can zip up on the sides. That is a great idea. I just never got in the habit of doing it. So because of that, these also have, you know, dual purpose. Like when it's an active show, you can hold, like sometimes I'll keep my back wall if the wind's really coming in, I'll make it more taut with these. So those are very helpful. Shims, you never know what kind of a ground situation you're walking into, whether it's pavement grass, whether you're on a bit of an incline, maybe you have a tree near your booth, so you got some roots kind of making things a little irregular. I have a few just kind of random, what are these, like 3/4 of an inch, like pieces of wood. I mean, this is kind of whatever you have laying around does the trick. They're not beautiful by any means. I did purchase some shims just for those little micro adjustments that need to be made underneath the feet of my table. So sometimes I'll use 1 or 2 or 3 of these if I just need to raise it a little bit. Of course, this applies more to if you have a table, you know, than if you're setting your work elsewhere, because you really don't want things that also works against you if you're on a little bit of a tilt. So you want to make sure you can kind of like correct for that. For me personally, I have this little container of Windex wipes. Usually I don't have in here, but I should. We have, what is it called? Paper towels
Yeah.
too.
Well,
Yeah.
you said it's anti-grade writing, you don't want that touch fine art or
Yeah.
things that can do smudges out.
Or if you need to wipe down a mirror, if
Yeah.
that's a part of your booth.
It dust down the road.
Oh, yeah.
When you get, you're like, there's a layer of dust and all that stuff.
Lakefront. It was so dirty. Everything was filled.
Other things, so my ratchet straps, I got this. These were actually a gift from my booth helper. It was very sweet of
Aw.
her. I had some from like like a hardware store that were just like really, they were just really industrial looking. And I'm like, they're fine. And she's like, no, you need these to match your white display intent. So it's nice they kind of have this little bag here. Like I said, I have them preset. If you did want to take a look at these at any point,
I want to take a look at
feel free.
I do not.
Come
like
on
my
up.
house. No, they're
Well, you'll
bright
need,
red.
yeah, a set of 4, so
Yeah,
one
you
for
have
each
them.
kind of corner of your booth there. Going along with that, these also white, even though it's gonna get dirty, I know, but it matches everything. So, yep, 4 of these, and like Jessie was saying, like wrapping those around
Yeah.
your weight in the corner of your booth is a great idea. You also might find other uses for them, so having maybe more than 4 could be helpful. A garbage bag. Garbage bag. This is not one that I actually use for trash at a show. I'll use a smaller one. It's also a good tip, bringing like a little trash bag behind your booth. This is more if say it's really rainy throughout the show, I have to pack down, my walls are wet. And so instead of sticking them in a bag, I just shove them in a garbage bag so I can go home, lay them out, deal with them later. It doesn't get the bag all wet. So having a trash bag is great for that.
Maybe some liquor if it's a bad show, you wanna.
In your go bag.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why I have 2 of these right now, but I do, and I brought them both for some reason. Duct tape. Again, my display is very white, so I kind of elect for white also to match the booth. I needed to use this last year with one of these that a friend brought me when my lilac booth broke, and having like some like stabilizing something, some kind of a stabilizing thing, a piece of wood in your bag is great if you do have something happen with your tent leg, your tent walls. So we were able to kind of bend that back, use this as a brace, and then wrap the duct tape around it, and then dispose of the tent afterwards. But it got me through the weekend. So that is a helpful thing to have. We even talked about zip ties. Love zip ties. The longer the better. That's right, you know it.
Bring the guys together.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, nice long, also clear or white to match your booth. I guess if you have a darker booth, you maybe would want to go a different way, but just assume white booth. Bunch of zip ties. Let's see. I got this from the Three Rivers show forever ago. This is just a little poncho, a little rain poncho, just in case it fits in there. I mean, a little umbrella would kind of do, it would help too, but just having something of that nature. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or like anything else, any other reason you gotta run it. So let's see what else we have in here. I'm gonna kind of get into some of the more of the nitty gritty stuff. This is just a portable like USB rechargeable battery to plug your phone into because you need that sucker working if you're gonna take any payments on it. So definitely make sure it's charged before the show and you pack the appropriate cord that matches your phone. When I was trying to convince Cordell to do this talk with me not that long ago, and Jessie, same show, Lakefront. I then ran up to him 30 minutes later and was like, I packed the wrong cord to recharge my phone and I'm going to be giving this talk. He gave me something, he took care of it. But anyways, so just do yourself a favor. It happens. Odds are one of your neighbors will maybe have something you need when in doubt. So it's nice also to be that neighbor, to be like, here, go take the duct tape, like do what you got to do, to be like that level of prepared where you can be helpful to people around you. Kind of getting into, this is more like indoor show kind of stuff. But I did pick up one of these portable power supplies a few years ago. I think I did get it on Amazon, but it has a couple of just kind of traditional plugs and then a few USB slots. It also doubles as a
Nice.
That's a good question. It depends on how much you have plugged into it. So I wouldn't recommend it probably for more than 5 hours of use. I do think I get away with it having, so I just, the nice thing with the LED lights is they don't pull as much energy. So I have had 4 lights, I think, plugged into this at a show and it lasted, I think, the whole time. These are not, I mean, I'm not showing you the best options for lighting up your booth as far as like the lights go, but these are what's worked for me. I haven't, upgraded everything. It's just, sometimes you're just like, this is good enough for now, and I'm gonna hang here for as long as I can. But these are great. These are great. Also, I didn't pack it, but if you have access, like if you're doing a show that goes into the evening hours, it's gonna get dark. Maybe you're indoors, bringing a power strip, bringing an extension cord, also helpful. You may end up having access to power. You may ask for having access to power and then for whatever reason not get it. But that way you're kind of prepared as best you can be for whatever kind of situation arises there. Another outdoor, especially summertime. Oh, thanks, Jessie. Yeah. Sunscreen, also in the go bag. Don't want to forget that. And then fans, I like this one because I can kind of tie it to or kind of wrap it around my tent and have it sort of directing at me. It's pretty small. I've seen people have bigger ones kind of doing that, or even some that are like open propeller. Yeah, those are, now that's, we need that person at that talk to speak on that. What's that? What do you- I know, right? Yeah, that's it. Also, whatever you use for taking payments, make sure it's charged, make sure you have it. Little things, big things. This is I have like a kind of smaller, this ends up becoming a part of my display. Actually, this back part ends up holding something, but it's like my go-to with my business cards in it, my spare change, measuring tape in case I need that, other little nerdy jewelry things, scissors, whatever these are called. Binder clips. These are great for attaching your booth number to your tent.
Oh, yeah.
So large binder clips are helpful for that. Tide to go, also helpful. The number of times I get coffee stains on my white display and I'm just like, come back soon. Pens, kind of like little catch-alls. So everybody's looks a little bit different, right? I would say the things that I went through in here, especially the things that remain on the table, zip ties, get out there. These are all sort of more important and more universal. Okay. Anybody have any input on this or questions or want to add anything to like what's in their go bag? Did I nerd out on that?
I think
Hard enough?
I'm taking notes.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Price tag.
Yeah, price tags, yeah.
I do have little bungees that fit around the weights nice, that have like a
Oh.
ball on the end. and I
Okay,
just
just
put them
gonna
on my
lock it.
wrist and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, I
those
like
are
that.
nice.
Those are
I'm
nice.
trying to think what else.
This is question, square. Does anybody have an opinion on what's the best way to use square? Best things use fastest.
Me too.
Yeah,
That's what
square.
I'm doing now.
It's
What
kind
about
of the
Peter?
industry standard. I think you need this present to even tap to pay on the phone. Is that right? It needs to be,
No, no.
oh, okay, I see that.
No, I
This
just
doesn't need it.
I don't need that, but I have the little like plug-in one in case they don't
Oh,
have a tap
something.
to pay.
Okay. So I just tried taking that the other, so we're a little,
I do Apple Pay, yeah, and then I just have to pay on my phones. Yeah, but I have the little like insert thing in case
Okay.
somebody doesn't have a tap, but that thing kept dying on me, so I.
Yeah, these are kind of mixed. So if you have the Square app downloaded, and I guess there's a few different ways of like this piece being handled, whether it's attached or separate. But you can also like on your phone say like, there's an option to like tap to pay on phone. You can pull that up. I find that that often actually works better than this, but at least for me, I need this on and present in order for that to function. Otherwise, I have to manually enter people's cards, and Square does take a larger fee for that. And it's, when you're busy, the last thing you want to do is like entering all these numbers, getting somebody's zip code. But especially it shows where there's a lot of business going on, which is good. That's when things tend to get a little more finicky with the devices. So just kind of be prepared to like, all right, worst comes to worst, I will manually enter. Some artists use Venmo. I find with Venmo, I mean, at this point, like I am a business, and so I have a business Venmo, and so I would need to add tax to that. And I don't want people just swiping and like not paying tax. So other artists kind of collect that differently. Maybe they use their personal Venmo, so it doesn't matter as much. We're kind of staying away from that in this talk because everybody kind of does their own thing, and it's whatever, you're comfortable with and works for you. And I don't know what the laws currently are on like, I know there's a threshold that once you kind of go past it, you need to start like paying all the taxes basically, for better or worse. So yeah, we talked about go bad, also bins, like anything that's waterproof, just do yourself a favor, carry your stuff around in waterproof containers because again, weather starts getting kind of funky. You can like quickly put really important things away in your waterproof container. Things aren't going to get any wetter or more damaged than they need to. And these are cheap, I like kind of the heavy duty variety just because they feel a little more indestructible. But it's affordable, accessible, kind of allows you to pack your things in nice little cubes too, which is helpful. Okay, I know a friend of mine swears by the Hulkin bags. They are a more pricey option, but they do kind of fold up. They're waterproof, they zip close, they have wheels on them, which is nice. I ended up just going with, I'm gonna put this down before I drop it. One of these, I like the small footprint of this cart. I kind of wanted to be a wagon girl, but my things just don't fit in the wagon. So I'm off the wagon. But this guy's great, folds up on itself like that. So I can very easily slide it into my cart. Where did I get it? I don't know. There's the brand. But I'm sure you can find things like this all around too, if you're interested in something like that. Good. Okay. Good. Now you have all this stuff in front of me. Okay, I'm gonna move this away. All right. Booth etiquette. Oh, I love this topic. Booth etiquette. Making friends with your neighbors. And that starts as soon as you're entering the campus of wherever your show is. Everybody's a little stressed. A lot of people don't know where their booths are, or they've never done the show before, or even if they have, like there's somebody in their way, or, so we're all kind of coming into it with a certain level of anxiety. I would just encourage you to remember nobody's out to get you in those moments, and we all need to work together to make this as smooth as possible. Okay. I wrote this part actually before I wrote any of this because I was so fired up at a couple interactions I had at the Lilac Festival this year with other vendors and very disappointed, honestly. I'm like, that could have gone so differently if you treated me like a human being, sometimes people need to park in our spot for reasons unknown or in front of where our booth is. But maybe they were kind of pushed down the line because a giant truck with a trailer had to park in front of their booth. So it's better to just assume like everybody's good, everybody's trying, like we're not we're all on the same team here. So let's work together. Because who knows, this person may be your neighbor right next to you for the next 2-3 days, whatever it may be. And you may need them for something, but guess what? You burn that bridge. So, and then you'll see them. Oh my gosh, if you stay in this long enough, you'll see the same people. It's like kind of a similar circuit. So it's best to kind of have like more warm, positive feelings floating around than not. Yeah, and just, yes, ask just if you need somebody, if somebody's in your way, get out of your car, maybe walk over to their booth or figure out what's going on and just say, excuse me, I just got here, blah, blah, blah. Like explain your situation. Just try to do it with like a calm, compassionate tone and way, and everything will go a lot better. Also, yeah, the talk about kind of display and overflow. Every show kind of operates differently. Just kind of be mindful of where your things are. If you are kind of overflowing a little bit in front of your booth and you're allowed to do that at that particular show, make sure you're not unintentionally blocking your neighbor. I had an experience last year at a show that I won't be going back to, where it literally, they just cascaded in front of my booth. And I wasn't even mad at them. I was more mad at the organizer because I knew that they had allowed it for years for it to go on like that. And I just kind of accepted this is what it is here. It wasn't something that I knew I was going to be able to resolve by talking to them. So sometimes it's on the organizational level. Sometimes it's just a matter of like saying, hey, could you, like, I'm just noticing that, just try to broach it gently. Things will probably go your way. And if they don't, you'll know where you stand. Yeah, overnight, that's right. Yeah, bring that multi to them. Slicer sandbag. We've never done these things. Anybody have anything to kind of throw in on that at all? In that piece? Okay. Another thing like I like to do if I'm like having a good just in general, if I have the space, like I have like my booth helper there, things have kind of quieted down. Sometimes I like to just go find the show organizers and just thank them. Like thank them for having me, for putting this on. It's like a labor of love on their part. Like a lot of them are volunteers. It doesn't matter who you tell. Like it's just kind of nice to say like, hey, thanks. Like it's because of you that I'm able to continue doing this, and I'm able to support myself, and I'm able to like live and work and play as an artist. So, and if you say it to the right person, they might be like, all right. And it might better your chances again in next year. And they often only hear what's wrong. I think that's important too. They hear a lot of what went wrong, not a lot of what went right. So trying to be that counterbalance, I think is really, really helpful. At this point, I'm just kind of talking about random stuff here. I guess we've been doing that all along. But for those of you who haven't had a lot of interaction with people, like being at a craft show, being in a booth, like how to sell your work, how that all goes. I mean, I think like at the end of the day, like just remember, like you're just there having moments with people that are approaching you. So how would you kind of treat anyone that's kind of approaching you and saying hello? Just be friendly, be kind. Your work will speak for itself. If they have questions, they'll let you know. It's the aggressive sales approach. I mean, to each their own, I got to remember that. But it's hard being a neighbor to them,
No.
and it doesn't really necessarily work, just be there, be you. Most importantly, just be you. Like wear something that makes you feel good. Like just, even though there might be some chaotic things going on, make sure you're like, you've nourished your body, you're drinking plenty of water. Just try to find that like internal calm and just be kind, and available. Let's see. Oh yeah, little things, but big things. Arrive on time, read up on the show. Never a good look to show up late. We all miss things from time to time, but yeah, and then kind of have an idea of how the teardown's going to go. Clothesline's really good about putting all of that out there in emails forward. Other shows are not as good. Also, for those of you who haven't done it, like loading in and loading out is a pretty smooth, seamless machine for such a big like property and a big show, there's lots of different entrances and exits and they're, well, it's very spaced out. People can show up between, I think, 10 AM and 7 PM. Is that, I think that's right. So it's not, because it's such a large window of time. I feel like I've almost never needed like to really wait for setting up to get in. Yeah, it might be different for inside. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, inside's newer. It's only 2-3 years old for the inside.
I'm sorry, I should know.
So where do you pull up the car, where inside?
You're gonna pull up just to the loop, right where you came in.
Back to the front.
I believe into the front, into the main pavilion.
Oh,
Yeah.
go to the front.
Yeah.
Are they having it right down like where you, after you open the door, stuff right down?
It depends on your booth location, but I know last year we had booths down in the.
Yes, yeah, so yes, I saw.
Yeah. I will say though,
didn't see it,
for
I've never
for
done it.
Saturday, the entire MAG staff, all we do for clothesline is clothesline. So every
Yeah.
staff member, every volunteer, like we're helping moving cards in, moving phones, picking up trash. So that's, you have that whole team helping, which I think kind of helps eliminate some of that like chaos.
Yeah.
Read your email, don't quote me on it. 'Cause
Yeah, right. I was gonna say emails should contain that.
But yeah, the parking team does a great job, mornings of, and the afternoons.
Mhm.
Traffic moves from Goodman Street to Prince Street, so if it's your first time, like, find a way to get you entering through this side, and you're always kind of through Prince Street, no matter if you're inside. So right now, University is this way, Goodman is here, and Prince is here, you're always entering the campus. through
That's
the
true.
inside,
There's not
and
a lot of
coming
entrances
into
next.
the-
But then you park, we used to park on that other little side road. Yeah, I had to go in the severe grass side. Yeah, and there, you would be able to find, because it is all hands on deck, it's not too hard to find a volunteer, and there's always people at those entrances that will kind of better direct you once you land. Yep. No, it's open. Yeah, which is great too. I feel like it goes worse when it's assigned setup times. It seems like it would be opposite, but no, it's kind of open-ended. So, and because it's such a big property, like you usually don't arrive at the same person as like the two people next to you.
Yeah, so back. So So your cars, you just stay on the road, right? But food trucks, you park there.
No, you go right up to your booth. Yeah. Oh, you pull up to your booth. Yeah.
You could like drive.
Yep.
Over here, you could park behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right against the edge there. Yeah.
There's nothing like.
But only if you let them.
That's it. It's a lot of people. It's like a small. What was I gonna say? Oh, but yeah, when you pull in, because the aisles are nice and wide too, you just pull right up to your booth, and then you can unload your car and like put your things there, and you might be able to even do, if you don't see anybody coming in around you, your whole booth setup while leaving your car right there. You know, if you start, I think I usually do too, unless it seems like things are getting crazy, then you can just kind of move to like the parking area that's not too far away. Yeah.
You said, when the festival wrapped up,
Uh-huh.
it looks like they're going like 2 hours to get later, together and.
It's probably longer if you need it. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's plenty of time. I would say there's plenty of time to get out. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you'd be surprised how quickly you move when you were like, okay, all right, let's go. I've been here long enough. All right. You know, it shouldn't take too long. And even exiting's never been bad. I don't think. Um, okay, so a few little extra things. Theft, again, we were saying like this is more for jewelers, people who make little teeny tiny things. It happens even at craft shows where people pay to get in, which clothesline is that. I can say in my experience, it has never happened at clothesline that I'm aware of. So if that's helpful, I hope it is. But it has happened at other shows where people had to pay to get in too. So that's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily protect you. So the best thing you can do is just be vigilant without being like overly crazy about it. I will say after it has happened to me, the rest of that day, I am not in a good mental, it's tough, you know, because I'm extra worried about everybody coming up to me and just like squirrely about, you know, people handling things. This is where for jewelers, I would advise having a secondary person. Just in general, having a second person is great if you can do that, you know, whether it's a partner, a friend. For me, I have somebody that I have paid for years, a good friend of mine, to help me out. And she's wonderful. I trust her explicitly. And it's well worth it. It also means like there's less of my energy going out. So at the end of the day, I don't feel as crazy or as drained. Like that has gone a long way for like my mental health and ability to kind of like sustain and keep doing this. So they kind of have and then you can also process some weird interactions are going to happen. You'll be able to like make eyes at each other afterwards or just kind of like talk about it. And that's nice to do too. A couple years ago, or last year, I'm sorry, when I had those thefts, I have like kind of a camera situation in my booth now. I have signs that say there's a camera in my booth. So hopefully that's helping. I don't know, you know, it's just trying to find those little deterrents along the way. I will say like it didn't happen for most of my career. And for whatever reason, it's just been the past couple of years that I've had a few that are significant enough where I'm now taking it more seriously. Oh no, I always bring my work home because I'm always, you know, outside. But they happened at the booth. The one that really affected me the most, it was two women. They were doing something. I didn't, they were, oh yeah, absolutely. Because one kept knocking over my display. So I was hyper focused on her. And then the other one walked away probably with like $400. It was just two big rings. Yeah.
Really, being honest about where to do this and where do you source your material?
Yeah.
Jewelry art stuff, and my brother was helping me, and he realized because it was super crowded, like tight indoor, tight holiday time, like there's
Yeah.
a lot of chaos going on, and as the one person is engaging, you know, I'm trying to keep my eye on everything. My brother's trying to talk to other customers,
Yeah.
and sure enough, they just.
A woman saw it happening, came over and told her.
Whoa, that's a godsend. That's cool. Did you get it back or was it just, she just let you know? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's tricky. Like, yeah. Oh, it's a very painful thing to go through. And then you have to continue to be on display, you know, in public. I think that's, oh, you're welcome. Oh, good luck
Have
to
a
you
great
too.
show.
Oh, you're welcome. I thought there was something else I was gonna add about that. Yeah, so if you feel, yeah, it's another trust your instinct thing. Like I did feel like something funny was going on, but I didn't go there, you know, like my mind didn't go there. But then looking back, I was like, whoa, that's absolutely like what happened. So now, you know, a little more aware of those kinds of things. And again, like having that second person. So the only times I've had these thefts happen, I've been alone in my booth. That's also, I feel like, a good little nugget there. I don't think it would happen if, you know, my helper was with me. So I would say too, if you are in a situation where you do need it has to just be you. Maybe if you have, you know, 3 wall, like it's like you have a more exposed L shape, maybe tighten that up to just being like just your tables, like you right behind them, so you can better manage what you have going on. Or like call your mom or friend. I need help. We're almost done here, guys, and you can leave if you feel complete at any time too. I'm sure some of the people on Zoom have, or they will. All right, last but not least, comfort, at least, you know, for this talk, you know, sometimes you got those extreme temperatures going on. You just kind of, again, find what works for you. So if you're dealing with a lot of heat, you know, the fan is good, packing, you know, your cooler with ice, maybe some cold, like my assistant Cher, she's lovely. She'll bring on those really hot days, she'll freeze washcloths overnight in a little plastic bag and bring those for each of us. So we have those kind of like to when we need them most, you know, in the kind of heat of the day. What's that? No. She's mine all the way though. As well as like maybe cold foods, drinks. Make sure you're bringing plenty of water because as much as like, oh, I'll be able to get water at the show, it'll be fine. It wasn't that long ago. I was at a show, maybe you guys were at. They were like, actually, none of those food trucks have water. So, oh, okay, where do I? What? Like that is insane. There's no fill station. There's no water. It's 80 something degrees. So just bring your own supply just in case. With the heat, or with the cold, I should say. If it's really cold, I like to bring those little kind of like heat packs, or you can get some that plug in too. There's other things I kind of listed on there. A lot of it's common sense, but you know, you're going to be outside all day, you know, and if it's feels a little cool to begin with, it's only going to get colder the longer you're sitting in it. So bring a blanket, bring a winter coat, even though that might seem excessive, but then maybe hours into the show, you'll be really glad you had it. Obviously rain stuff kind of goes without saying. Yeah, I think I'm done talking. But I guess, does anybody else have any? Yeah, yeah. Great. Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, so supporting a booth and let the gate people know, like, I feel this better. All right, so as long as we just say that.
Clothesline too. You guys have volunteers that will come around and check on the artists, which you don't get that at every show. That is huge. So take advantage of that if you're alone, or sometimes even let like there's usually like, do they call them booth captains here or street captains or something like that? Booth captains, let them know that you're alone. Like sometimes if I know I have help, I'm like, I'm gonna be good. You don't need to check on me. But if you're alone, just say like, hey, can you come back periodically? And they'll make a note of that and they'll come around more frequently. So that is big too. Big Clothesline offers that. Yeah. Oh, so funny. I didn't even look at him. I just like, I assume I'm in the same spot. Yeah. It moves a little, but I'm like, I'll look eventually. Look when I'm rolling in.
Yeah.
I know. So I was just saying. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Told you.
Draw it up.
Get your pencil.
It's like the easy, so I have an easy on my thing.
But that doesn't be anything that's actually for your math.
It's kind of the same. I don't think it like attached. I think they're probably pretty universal. The plates just kind of slide on. I think it would be okay. Yeah, yeah. Draw it.
Yeah.
Draw it. Do we have a marker? All I have is a pencil. Ooh, look at that back there. Make it colorful. Make it
That's right.
rainbow.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not. Oh, okay, that have 2 weights per leg, that brings me to 44 pounds per leg. Are you feeling like that's not enough?
No, I think that's good. It just, is there a way? Yeah,
The Umax cells.
okay, okay.
You wouldn't know if I was.
Big lump.
Basically, it's like a. Wow. Wow. Nice.
Yeah, but it's wait for yourself. Still attached, yeah, I was surprised for that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there was, just last night, I ran into, oh, look at that.
Yes. Sounds like. This is the plate right here, and then the sandbag goes on it, and this is the tent leg, so it's kind of like attached.
Do you have a link to that was it Amazon? You think?
I can look, I can search, I don't know if I have.
the exact one that Cordell and I use, but they are.
Something close.
So you really don't want to be on.
What's that, the weight?
No.
No, no, no. I mean. It's not even, it's not as stable. I mean, I just like see things that. It's better than nothing, but a lot of weight sitting, I guess. Like at the base, better than nothing, but finding some kind of, you guys, like, really hold your.
Yeah. I've got seen it.
Oh,
Right, no, yeah.